This is right here, the competitive governor's races across the country. These states that are highlighted have over 10% African-American registered voting population. Texas, that's a very tough race for the Democrats. Florida down here, Georgia and Louisiana, Georgia and Alabama, I'm sorry. You have Illinois, you have Michigan, Ohio, and you have the state of Maryland. These are the governor's races where you have at least 10% registered African-American. You see the percentage quite higher in some of those states, 29% in the state of Georgia. Now let's look at some Senate races. Right here through the heartland, you have the Missouri race, you have the Arkansas race, you have the Louisiana race, Florida, North Carolina, again, a very tough one for the Democrats, but Obama carried that state in 08, Ohio here. And within a lot of these states are the House districts. And the House districts, several in Georgia that are in play, several in Ohio in play, several out here in the heartland that are in play. And again, on a case-by-case, race-by-race basis, that's where you see the effort is lacking.
And here's the other issue. You have many of these states in the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies. They laid out that there are some 20 House races where black voters could put Democrats over the top. Well, part of the problem is you have these conservative Democrats or leaning conservative Democrats who are saying, I will not like Bobby Bright. I will not vote for Nancy Pelosi. They're trying to run away from the president. But black voters are saying, no, you need to be running to the president. And so how does a Larry Kissel in North Carolina, how does he engage independent voters and white voters while also hoping African Americans turn out? Democrats will get 90% of the black vote. The question is, will they get, a significant portion and increase? Oh, the 90%. That's the real issue.
And John, if I can jump in here for a second. Look, I'm going to go rogue for a moment here on my party, as I do from time to time. Look, we've done a fairly poor job of engaging our base. We Democrats we don't engage our base and sort of keep our base in tune and energized the way Republicans are. And we absolutely done a poor job of this. And you can look at some of the committee structure, and this is something I've brought up on your show before. Right. When you look at the committee structure, and the folks in those committee structures, they don't look like the new base of the Democratic Party. They don't think like them, and they're not inclined to engage them. That's an absolute problem moving forward for the Democratic Party. It's a problem we're going to have to fix down the line. We've got to grow more diverse inside that room, that strategic room of the Democratic Party in order to engage these voters. We have not done that, and we may pay the price for it.
And so will they respond to the 911 call from their president in the final 2 weeks if they feel, as you say, and as Roland says, I'm not stupid here. You're calling me, it's like that family member you talked about. If they only call twice a year, well, that's because they need money.
Absolutely. And that is the real issue there, John. And so the president is pushing hard, but Democrats can't just assume, well, black president, he somehow is going to get them out. Look at Virginia, Massachusetts, look at New Jersey. It didn't happen. You have to touch people on the ground, and you can't just go to black churches the last 2 Sundays before Election Day and think they're going to show up.
You have to have resources. You got to move the resources. You got to put the people on the ground. You got to touch them. You got to have people inside the Democratic Party in some of these committees that understand this group and have decision-making power, and that we don't have enough.
And so how could people who were so good at this in 2008 suddenly be so bad at it?
Because they took folks for granted. They simply assume that, hey, no problem, they're going to stick with us, but African Americans are very sophisticated. And not only this, black women, John, vote at a higher rate than any other group in America. If you don't engage black women, then you're going to lose them. So I don't understand why they haven't been using Michelle Obama before now to touch them. That's
what I was going to ask. We do see her out now, but again, in the end, if you're that black woman, are you going to say, here she is now? I mean, she obviously, that's a tough one for her because she doesn't want to be overly political as the first lady. She's got a tough one there to do. And she's a mother trying to raise 2 kids at an interesting part of their life who now have to live inside the White House in that bubble. But Cornell, is she more key than him?
Well, quite frankly, they both have approval. They both have favorable ratings, 95 plus in the African American community. And look, Barack Obama is not just a political leader among black and to a certain degree some brown voters. He represents something so much larger than that. They don't use the same metrics of leadership and politics that they use with Barack Obama. He's a larger cultural and social figure than them. They are vested in Barack Obama and Michelle Obama in the way they're not vested in other black sort of politicians because they're not simply politicians. So they want to see him success. And the way Democrats sort of tie themselves to the wagon of Barack Obama's success, they can pull out this segment of the vote. Arguably not enough of them have been doing that over the past.